What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Kid Taj. Today we're going to be talking about Dwyane Wade. He's out for the season with, I believe it was an elbow fracture. There's only a few games left. I think for the Bulls, 14 games left or something like that. So it didn't have to be a major injury, but Bulls probably aren't making the playoffs. Even if they do, they're probably not going to go far. So, I think it's pretty much safe to say that, his season with the Bulls is over and his career with the Bulls might be too, which is where we're going to get into more about where is he going to go in the off season? I'll explain all of that. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, an idea down below for a new video. Subscribe if you're new. Let's get into this. So as I referenced before, it has just been announced earlier today that Dwyane Wade, Bulls guard, he's going to miss the remainder of the season this year. And I think that this video, I could just talk about the injury, its effect on the team, which I probably will a little bit, and I actually definitely will. I know that. But more importantly, we might have seen Dwyane Wade's last days as a Chicago Bull. I know, it feels like it just started. But D Wade, he came to the Chicago Bulls team probably expecting a lot more than, what we got out of it. And Wade, after putting up averages of 19 points, 4.5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.5 steals, shooting 43% from the field, 31.5% from 3 this season. A Bulls team at 32-36 that is very much so underachieved, or really, this team wasn't good to begin with, and we just thought this could either be pretty good or it'll implode, and it kind of imploded. I mean, this team, despite their record, which isn't terrible, they're not a very good cohesive unit at all. Okay, so basically this whole thing, first I'm gonna talk about the Bulls, my favorite team, my diehard franchise. We're not gonna make the playoffs. I don't think. There's a very small chance. I know there's a ton of games left, but it just doesn't, how are we gonna go on a run? Every time the Bulls go on a 4-game winning streak, we follow it up with a 4-game losing streak. It's not gonna happen. We're gonna go 500 for the rest of the year, miss the playoffs for a second straight year. Hoiberg ruining this team, or this front office ruining this team more importantly. But something interesting was this year that minutes, analytics, and I look at these things, and Dwyane Wade, the team was actually better when Dwyane Wade was off the court than when he was on the court. A lineup with Dwyane Wade and no Jimmy Butler was much, much worse than, Dwyane Wade with anyone, or, some people, without Dwyane Wade. Jimmy Butler without Dwyane Wade was better than Jimmy Butler with Dwyane Wade. Lineups with that. So, a lot of signs point to Dwyane Wade. This team isn't as effective when he's on the court, whether it be offensive reasons, defensive reasons. Not taking away from him as a player, but obviously this team they don't function together correctly. The star players don't play as a cohesive tandem. This is just because of the lack of shooting, the overcompensation. I mean, really, everybody's handling the ball. You got Rondo, Wade, and Butler all trying to handle the ball. It's not going to work out. Too many guys like that. And also Wade's drop off on the defensive end. Now, the Chicago team very well may be better without Dwyane Wade, but it doesn't really change anything, especially for him, because he's probably looking to, another team in free agency, which is the main point in this video. Dwyane Wade signed a 2-year, $48 million deal with the Bulls this offseason. However, he does have a player option. I think it's a player option, which means he can opt out whenever he wants, which is the end of the season. He can be gone. And I think he did say that he was going to test the waters of free agency. And I think that means that there's a pretty good chance he's not coming back to Chicago. I don't see it. I know that he went to Chicago because it's his hometown. He always wanted to play in a Bulls jersey, but I don't think this is what he envisioned it being like. This type of season, there's so much dysfunction with this franchise and team. It's just not what he wanted. I think he wanted, a peaceful, I'm not going to say he's going out, because he's 35, I know, but he's still got a few years left. You can see it. The dude averages 19 points in 30 minutes a night. I mean, he can still be effective, which is why, and when I think about teams he could go to, teams Dwyane Wade could go to in the offseason, it was interesting to see that the main teams he was looking into weren't really what you'd expect them to be. Believe it or not, the main teams Dwyane Wade was looking to join in the offseason were the Denver Nuggets and the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, before this season, we were probably thinking, well, the Denver Nuggets they're not good. And the Bucks, they're not good either. They're two non-playoff teams. However, both these teams are looking to be in the playoffs this year. It looks like Denver probably is, unless, they choke late this year and they let Portland take that 8th spot. And Milwaukee is, it's very hard to tell because the Heat have been playing well. I think the Heat are staying in that playoff, that top 8, and they're probably going to climb higher because they've been on fire. I think you need the Pistons to fall out for the Bucks to go in, which, that's not completely unrealistic unless they're already in. I mean, I got to update myself in the standings then. But the Bucks, I believe they're in 9th right now. They could be in 8th though. Who knows? But yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks, to me, are and the Denver Nuggets, both of them, are teams that they're like on the bubble playoff teams. And they're both young teams with a ton of potential. Now, out of these two teams, I think it would make more sense for Dwyane Wade to go to the Denver Nuggets. If he goes to the Milwaukee Bucks, first of all, him and Giannis on the same team are two guys who don't have strong three-point shots, two guys that want the ball in their hands a lot. You could see what happened with Wade and Butler with that. Well, Giannis is even worse of a shooter than Butler. So, yes, Wade could mentor Giannis, even though, they're not really that similar in terms of how they play similar type players. And they got Chris Middleton already, so we'd like to be playing a bench role over there. Unless you really want to play a backcourt of Wade and Middleton and have Giannis play small forward and have Giannis be point forward or whatever. That would be cool too. But the Denver thing makes sense a lot more to me because Denver has a shortage on guards, or at least good guards, but they have an abundance of really good front court players, young front court players that are going to be good, especially Nikola Jokic. But they got more guys. Some of the better players are in the front court. And, Denver could totally mix it up. They're a medium team. They could dump a lot of their older players like Danilo Gallinari or Kenneth Faried or something like that. But, Dwyane Wade fills a spot at shooting guard, or point guard. Any guard really on that team, starting or off the bench. Jameer Nelson, I think, is their starting point guard. So that's obviously a position that could be upgraded. He could fit in as a point guard. But I don't know. I don't really think he plays point. I don't know. Maybe it would work, but maybe Wade's not even looking to be a starter. And it's funny that, I mentioned these two teams. We didn't mention any championship caliber teams. What if Dwyane Wade tries to go to a contender? What if he's like, well, I want a ring on my way out? Well, what did Pau Gasol do when he was in Chicago? He was the same age and he went to the Spurs. He's trying to get that ring. Dwyane Wade, he's in the exact same situation. He opts out of his contract. He can get out and go to a contender. Now, what contender would Dwyane Wade want to go to? What team would he want to bolster? That's, and immediately people are going to be like, oh, well, he's going to go to the Cavs. Because the Cavs have LeBron James and Wade and LeBron. They're great friends. And they played together. And they were one of the best dynamic duos that we've ever seen. Right. However, and that would be sick, right? And that the shooting guard position for the Cavs, that's arguably their weakest position in the starting lineup. That or the center spot. So, Dwyane Wade's like, okay, they got a short just shooting guard. I'm playing with LeBron. I'm going to be in the playoffs. Like, all right, that's all good. Shooting would be an issue, right? Because, you get a guy that can't shoot threes really that well in Wade. And then LeBron, what he does with shooters. How good he plays with shooters. But then again, it's like if he's playing with Dwyane Wade, he's probably going to be playing well. But I honestly don't know. Maybe Dwyane Wade just isn't as good as he used to be, and that won't work as well. Maybe we'll call him off the bench, and they'll start a shooter so LeBron can play. Or I don't know. They could really do it a ton of different ways. I'm sure the Cavs would be happy to include Dwyane Wade. However, the contract situation would be something to look at, just because, that team is giving a ton of money to people, and Dwyane Wade, if he's going to ask for big money, if he wants big bucks, I don't think Cleveland's the place for him. I think that he goes to Denver or Milwaukee. Then I think they would love a guy like D Wade. Besides that, though, I don't really have any ideas. Denver, Milwaukee, what they have in common is they're young teams that are pretty good already. That they may need a veteran, a voice in the locker room, a guy that can help out with young players and help mentor them, whatever. So what young teams like that? The Sixers. Think about the Sixers next year. They're gonna get Simmons and Embiid back, and they're going to get a big high pick in the draft. The Sixers, that could be a spot, and that would be weird, right, to see Wade in the Sixers because they're a young team, but maybe Wade doesn't have to be, I don't know. The only reason I'm bringing that up is because the Denver Nuggets and Milwaukee Bucks are the two teams that, Wade wants to go to or whatever. So the Sixers, would that work? It kind of sounds weird to me, honestly. The Timberwolves, of course, he could be a bench role, play a bench role, help out Andrew Wiggins, whatever. Or, again, he could go to a contending team. I'm thinking the Utah Jazz. Ooh, that would be something. They added him to the Utah Jazz. What would that team be like? I don't know. Maybe they like the Utah Jazz the way it is because it's like a system team. Maybe they don't want to disrupt that. I don't know. As I try to think of more ideas, I don't know, guys. What do you guys think? That's all for this video. What team do you think Dwyane Wade will join in the offseason? Do you think it's the Bulls? I don't think it's the Bulls. As a Bulls fan, seeing the dynamic of this team, it's like, nah, why would he want to go there? Anyway, yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Comment what team you think Dwyane Wade's going to join in the offseason. Subscribe if you're new. Like it up if you enjoyed, and I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all.